This man, okay, you don't know what you just did, okay? That's his mother's necklace. It's the only thing holding his soul at rest.
Okay, fine, then we'll just give it back.
You can't just give it back. He's awake now. He's awake. He's going to be coming for all of us. We have...
There he is.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Citizen Frame. Today, we are peppering in a new release. Spoiler-filled new release, people. Not that there's not much to spoil here. There's not much of a plot. It is a slasher film at the end of the day, but it's a special kind of slasher film. As you all know, that I love my slasher genre. Don't care how bad it is. Don't care if it's Tubi. Don't care if it's a Hulu. Don't care if it's a video on demand. Don't care if it's a B movie, a D movie, a C movie. If it's a slasher film, I'm going to see it, or either pretty much enjoy it, no matter what. So,
why? Genuine question. What attracts you to the slasher genre? Genuine question. I'm not like raking about or anything.
Is this a genuine question?
Yeah, 100%.
I'm just kidding.
I'm not taking the piss. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's because
nostalgia.
Yeah, I think I remember spending my summers as a kid when we had sleepovers with your friends and stuff.
Yeah,
and we'd always go to the horror wall. When you're a kid, that's what you go to, is the horror.
Yep,
and
100%. In the video shop.
My go-tos have always been Halloween, Friday 13th, Prom Night. I remember seeing Prom Night for the first. And they're all slashers. Terror Train. I was quickly a Jamie Lee fan. It was always the go-to. I don't know why. Just always has been.
I'll always have a soft spot for the Friday the 13th and the Freddy's, but really because of nostalgia reasons. You know, I grew up with them.
See, I don't think Freddy's a slasher.
I know, but it's yes, I know what you're saying. He's not really a masked sort of.
Yeah, to me, a slasher, even Friday 13th was no longer a slasher after 4.
Yeah, no.
To me, a slasher is a real person behind a mask going after you. So I don't think people really realize there's different subgenres in horror. Slasher isn't, every horror film. It's
the first Nightmare on Elm Street is definitely not a slasher.
None of them are. Nightmare on Elm Street is a fantasy horror.
Yeah.
No, slasher is reality, believe it or not, of a madman or a woman going after somebody and killing them. What makes it horror is you put a mask on them.
Yeah.
Once you do that, you're giving it a slight fantasy element, so that turns the crime drama, as it would be, or a crime thriller, into a slasher. And the body count and the cliches of of teeny boppers and virgins and shit.
Yeah, don't drink and all that sort of thing. Don't take drugs. Don't have sex.
But slasher films get passes from me. They're my guilty pleasures. Most slasher films are terrible. But when it comes to the genre, the first 4 Friday 13s, we all know how I feel about the Halloweens and the Scream. They have, quite frankly, some of the most successful franchises in the biz.
I enjoyed the recent Eli Roth one.
Thanksgiving, which we recently talked about. There's another one we might get to it. I think we might put it in for the Halloween month. It's called Founders Day.
Yes, I've heard of it.
It's not bad, guys. Not bad. Check it out. I might put that in for our Halloween one. But another, I Know What You Did Last Summer is the Urban Legends. Mm-hmm. It's just, and a lot of them are smarter than the people think. They're fun whodunits. They all have that Agatha Christie kind of feel to them, and the gore.
The first 2 Screams, and I suppose the first Friday the 13th, and yeah, I mean, obviously Halloween's a classic, so it is,
With that being said, they're being chimed out a lot now on Tubi, and which is not a bad little network, but they do a lot of independent, their own little
direct, just pumping them out.
They're almost like Lifetime movies, but they're slasher, but they're not bad. They're still violent and stuff. They're not like but they're not great either. But
X, of course, as well as a slasher.
Yeah, X is. But anyways, my point is that you don't see a lot of slashers going to the cinema anymore. Founders Day went out for a little bit. You had, obviously, X and Thanksgiving both did well in the cinema. And
the Screams, of course.
And, of course, the Scream franchise. But but when they do come out, it's still going to be the same formula, basic story. But this one does something a little different. And what I really appreciate what this filmmaker did was he obviously turned the tables by the point of view of the killer, which we've had snippets of that with Halloween, Peeping Tom, and Black Christmas, and so forth.
There's an episode of The X-Files actually does it, where it's taken from the point of view of the monster of the week. But yeah, I mean, it's been done before.
Yeah, but in small doses, or no one's even seen them. So this whole film is kind of geared around the day in the life of Jason Voorhees.
Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Yeah,
it's from the point of view as well of the killers.
Yeah, and it's got some issues, of course. It's independent, but this filmmaker, Chris Nash, he's an effects artist by trade. He does a lot.
That comes across here.
Yeah, he does a lot of short films. This is his first really big outing, and for him to do this and just it gets a lot of things right, and it's the main thing is the sound and the camera work. It's, trust me, guys, because it's the point of view of the killer. It's not through the eyes; it's behind them. All right, or it might pan around them, and you'll get some cutaways to the other campers, but it's really not about them; it's about him, and it's
the camera's following behind him. Basically,
there's no
for a lot of it.
There's no Blair Witch style here. It's all steady cammed, so don't worry about, oh God, I hate found footage kind of stuff. It's not. There's
some great cinematography here.
Some
shot in Ontario.
It's quite a bit.
Yeah. Shot in Canada, Ontario.
Yeah. Yep. Let's just jump into it. Chris Nash.
Yep.
And In a Violent Nature. Is it In Violent Nature? In a Violent Nature.
In a Violent
Nature. I don't know why brain freeze there. So we got a bunch of characters. We don't need to know their names. The only one we care about is Johnny, which is played by the big man himself, Ry Barrett. He's a big fucker.
Yeah, he's a stuntman or something that has his typical for Slicers to hire a stuntman to play the killer.
Yeah, I don't think he was. I think he's always played. He plays
like big monsters and stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure he was.
He's like rent a big guy, basically.
Yeah. He's a big fucker.
Yeah.
But he is built a lot like Kane Hodder. Very broad.
Oh, totally.
Very broad. You could they mirrored this character around Jason, especially when he revealed the face. It does
100%. 100%. This is Jason Voorhees with a fireman's mask on.
This is Jason Voorhees. This is, well, the basic story is, we're in a group of teens take a locket from a collapsed fire tower in the woods. They unwittingly resurrect the rotting corpse of Johnny, a vengeful spirit spurred by a horrific 60-year-old crime. The undead killer soon embarks on a bloody rampage to retrieve the stolen locket. Yes. That's the story. Quite simple. The director, really what he does is the film itself is really about the long shot, and he has a lot of shots that linger, and he does that to misdirect you sometimes. He does that to show you a really creepy different angle of a shot we just saw, or he does it maybe one too many times.
Yeah. Well, what he does, I think, too many times is just scenes of continual walking of the killer. A bit like a video game, and I'm not even a gamer, but these video games where you're like basically you're playing a character, but you can actually see them in front of you. If that makes sense, it's a bit like that.
No, yeah, I know what you're talking. I know what you're
like a first person
shooter kind of thing. Yeah, it is. It actually is done like that, and I would agree with you. I think what he was trying to do, guys, it does linger sometimes a little too much with the walking.
It becomes a bit tedious. Yeah.
It doesn't ruin the film. I think he was trying to do it because of length. To be a film like this, a
proper feature.
Yeah, to be a film, you have to have a certain amount of minutes to be a feature film. But it doesn't hurt the film. I can see people's complaint going on a little too long there, but he does make up for it.
I think it hurts it, but but at the same time, at first I was this is a strange one for me because I've only watched this once, but I would like to see it again, and I will watch it again because I have no doubt, I'm pretty certain that I will have a different, not a different view of it, but I will probably appreciate it more. But I appreciate what this guy's doing with this experimental type of film, experimental type of slasher, and I very much respect it. I don't think he pulls it off, overall.
That's
but-
bullshit. Doesn't pull
No,
it off. Oh, fucking course he does pull it off.
Overall, he doesn't. In some respects, he does, but not overall for me. But again, I might change my mind. Want to watch it again?
Let's tweet some. So, yeah. So the resurrection scene is really nice. It's
well done.
What he does extremely well in this is that he removes a lot of the sounds. And the only sound you really have is the sound you get in maybe the woods or the forest and his fucking thumping.
Practical effects here as well are a big plus point.
Well, yeah, it's the heart of the film, really. And if that didn't work, this film wouldn't work. So his competency with how he directed and the crew itself he used brought their A game. So, but this resurrection scene is just so simple. Probably a guy sitting in a little hole and they go action. But the way he shoots it and the hands coming out and the dead rotted leaves, Johnny coming from his grave, it's not flashy, but no, that's what works.
Yeah, it's more grounded and it feels it's not so over the top spectacular or dramatic. It actually feels like the way if someone was to pull themselves out of a shallow grave after being buried there for so many years or whatever, it actually feels it feels rough and raw and how it would probably happen in reality. I mean, obviously it's not going to happen.
Yes, that's exactly right. Even the old tower of this, Johnny was killed
he was pushed off it
by some assholes in town because he
had learning difficulties. And so that's pretty much his burial ground. And which is, again, going back, piggybacking on the Friday 13th, so did Jason. Mm-hmm. And he was slightly deformed, Jason. Yeah.
So it almost plays like a snuff film without it being a snuff film. Trust me, if you guys know what I'm talking about, once you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. So when he gets up and when he's walking through the woods, and what he does to show time is just he shows you the edits. Like he'll be walking through the woods and he'll do a quick cut, and you can tell he's clearly in another area of the woods to show how he walks. And
or there'll be a change in the sort of it's like
day to night.
Night is starting to fall. Yeah.
And so the first place he goes is he's walking. You see all these traps and stuff. And again, another nice thing he does, he does plant the seed where this guy's doing illegal hunting by setting these traps for these animals, which you're not allowed to do, obviously, animal cruelty. So he's going to this person's house first. Now, the first we find out, we see it from a distance. And another thing that really works is the sound guys, because these guys are a distance, far away, but you can clearly hear what they're saying because we have to hear what they're saying. It's the ranger who will be introduced to later telling this older man, fucking trailer trash, you can't leave these traps here. You'll be arrested. Get rid of these traps now. He's having an argument with them. He's this old school bigot. And the ranger leaves and he just starts walking. And I love these long walks because he's about to do something. So you go with these walks. And that's why the longevity of the walks do work for me most of the time. And he just one long shot of him walking into this guy's house. Walks into this guy's house. We see his locket, another locket. And that locket was the one his father had. This man that's in this, the reason he's in this man's house is because this is the man who killed his father.
Yes, and he's out to get the... Well, is he? Because... Or is he like maybe the son of him? Because don't forget, the original events of this happened in the 1950s.
Yeah, but this is 60 years ago. So he probably would have been, he's in a teen.
Well, yeah.
So he's about 80 years old, this old dude.
I suppose it works,
But because he finds his dad's locket, because he has that little flashback, and obviously the old man comes in, what the fuck? And tries to shoot him. And now, we always make fun of the films where Jason's walking, right? And they're running. Well, how the fuck's Jason catching up?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
but here,
this
zombie, the old, yeah.
This film does kind of show you how it works, because you got this guy running at full speed as best he can. Now the trap, obviously, that's more of an ironic twist on his death. But when he's walking, he just has these long fucking steps, and he almost could be running. He just doesn't have to. And the way he paces, it shows that he could actually catch up with someone. Maybe if someone was more athletic, there'd be a problem.
Yeah. Well,
But-
it's an old horror trope anyway. I mean, Frankenstein's monster, zombies, the old school Romero zombies, they always caught up with you. Yeah, but at least they're sort of playing with it a bit here,
Yeah. And they have when he's going to grab a locket, his father's locket, before he's just disturbed, you see this nice shot with the hand, his hands all rotten and stuff. He's going to grab the locket. Obviously, the old man intervenes and shoots him. And that same shot is used when the man's screaming, don't hurt me, and you see his hand going toward his face. Wait, and then it quickly cuts to his hand, same shot, but back to the locket, and the hand's now all bloodied and gooey because he just tore this man's face off.
Off screen.
Yeah. And you didn't need to see it. I would like to have seen it, but you didn't need to see it because you know what's just happened. And
although, when saying that, I mean, it is a bit of a weird mix in that where they cut away from this gruesome death, but I suppose it is. But later on, you do see in full graphic sort of detail other deaths, let's just say.
Yeah, all you do.
Yoga Girl and the guy with the rock.
The guy with the rock was the best. I mean, some of these were so funny. Now, I had a problem with one of the deaths, and we'll get to it. It's the Rangers. I thought it was way too fucking long. That's the scene I had a problem with.
As well.
Well, I don't mind that. What effects, though? We'll get into these here in a second. So when he's walking, he sees a car coming by, and he hears the campfire people, and he knows that they're the ones who took his mother's locket.
Yeah,
it was called the White Pine Slaughter. That was the name of their deaths.
The original massacre. Yes,
the original of his death.
Yeah.
And the men who did it were Rangers, Fire Ranger. And
yes,
that's why
he worn the Fire Ranger mask.
That's why he goes, yes, that's why he breaks into the Fire Rangers to get the mask, because that's the mask they would have used. Well,
they to fight fires back then.
Yeah, whatever they used to fight fires back then.
Yeah.
There's what really I like about this film. It's not just, most of it is behind him. But when you see him stop, right, and he's in the woods and he's about to come up to this campfire, and he comes up really close. It's not like he's just walking and he's going to go hide behind a big rock or something. He's very close to these people. But what the camera does, they let the audience know that he can still be seen, even though he's this hulking giant. He's only a few feet away. The camera then pans to the other side of the fire pit as they're on the campfire, and you can see where we were behind him, but you can see him in the background, just a faint little shadow. Fucking wonderful shot.
And they even catch it whenever they do the selfie on their phone.
That's right.
Reference later on.
That's right. And just those are the shots I really love. Now he's got some a shot where, how about when, what's his name? Ethan, I think, Evan, I think his name was, when he fucking cuts his head off, half his head.
He was pretty fucking annoying, to be fair.
Yeah, he was
basically all of them, You're sort of on the side of Johnny here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you already hated these guys. They already have some infighting. They're already kind of obnoxious, so you wanted them to get it. And that's another thing. The dialogue works enough for us just to hate these fuckers. We don't need to see any more of them.
But it also works against it, which we'll come to later on with the final scene. While I appreciate it, I think it works against it as well at the end. But go ahead.
So the girl, there's a scene where, yes, it's Evan. No, it's not there. It's Evan. He walks out. He's got his headphones on or something.
Yes.
And he comes around and beheads him. Well, half his head.
Well, half his head, yeah.
And
Good effect, really good effect.
these effects are spot on.
Top quality, practical effects.
Practical.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah. Old school. And I really like, that's probably one of my favorite thing about this, actually. Old school practical effects and done really well and realistically.
Well, when he just grabs Aaron's body and just drags him along, and he chucks his head through the ranger station glass just to get it open, just not a care in the world, and just so casual.
Yeah, he's like a dumb brute. You know what I mean? And it's just like, to him, that's just like sort of like an animal, throwing an animal carcass away. You know,
my second favorite shot of the film is the lake. But at the same time,
again, 100%. It's calling back to Friday the 13th. I mean, this is Camp Crystal Lake. For all intents and purposes.
And that's what. Yeah. So the scene where we see it from, again, his point of view, all the way across the lake. We see the girls swimming, whatever, and he just walks right into the water, and then until we don't see him anymore. And again, the camera just lingers. And we heard their conversation from across the lake. We can hear it clearly, which is great sound again. And one of the girls leaves, and it cuts to the other side of the lake where now we see her swimming near the dock.
Yeah.
And now she's pulled under. And it's just great because you don't know when it's going to happen. You don't know how it's going to happen. It's a wonderful shot, 100%. However,
what I like,
hold on, me 2 seconds. Hold me 2 seconds here. However, I think the shot is kind of a wasted opportunity. Even though it's still good, I wish that the camera stayed on him walking, and he's in the lake. He's disappeared. But I like to see him coming back up on the other side. I thought that would have been creepy.
But what I did like about this, probably the best, is that there's a moment where it pauses just on the lake for like several beats, and then her dead body comes up.
Oh yeah, once he pulls her under, you're like, where is she? Where is she? And then
where's the struggle? Yeah. But you don't see the struggle. But you see the aftermath where her dead body just floats to the top.
And then he goes to the other girl who just left there, and this fucking kill is wow.
Yeah, it's brutal. Really well done, the special effects wise.
Yeah, I don't know how. I'm trying to figure out how he did it. But
he basically puts this hook thing around her head, but it also goes through her stomach.
He goes through her stomach first, and he takes
the head. Then the head goes through the empty stomach or something.
Wonderful effects.
Yes.
Period. And I do like when he stabs her, she turns around and just looks at him like, what the fuck just happened? Yeah. She's like unaware, shock. It wasn't like this screaming or she's like, oh, yeah. She just takes a hit and just, what the fuck just happened? Kind of creepy, actually. But the kill is so overkill. It kind of, you kind of miss the moment.
It's completely over the top.
Oh, God, yeah. It is.
But again, I think it's more that this kill is more not even for the dramatic effect of the kill itself, but more as a special effects showcase, It's like, look what we can do. Again, not because it is great effects, practical effects, but this is more memorable, this scene, for the effects as opposed to the actual shock and the dramatic effect of the kill itself. Does that make sense?
Well, you got to realize these guys are effects artists. So
they're very good.
Yeah, at the end of the day, they got to put their craft in there. But yeah, it's pretty brutal. And then you've got this moment. This is my favorite shot. I actually have a lot of favorite shots in this film. Mm-hmm. And it's where these two assholes are fighting, and they throw the car keys. And he sees this car keys, he picks them up, and he sits down, and it calms him because all it is this little pink car. Mm-hmm. And he's so enthralled with this pink car because he's a child at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so he's sitting there playing with it. And there's a quick focus shot in this one scene that is so fucking brilliant and just creepy. Now, his face is all blurred at this point. You don't, because he took off his mask. He's playing with the little the key. and he takes his mask off, and his face is all blurred, but you can see the car perfectly. It's in focus,
Yes.
and he's playing with it, and you don't see it coming. You don't think it's coming because you never reveal the killer's face until the ending final shot of the film. Usually, that's always a slasher cliche, but this one they don't. They quickly focus out of the pink car and show you his face without even a hesitation.
And it's great makeup.
Yeah, it is. And it creeps you out because you didn't expect it.
Yeah.
You didn't expect it. So they removed that cliche. And it's actually a really nice scene about Johnny and where his mind really is.
Yeah, it's a child. This is where the audience becomes sympathetic with Johnny, like, Jason to a certain extent, where he was drowned and stuff, So this is where you have the sympathy with Johnny whenever you see him just like a child playing with a toy car.
Yeah. Oh, it was good stuff. Then that follows up with the other two. They start realizing the two girls are dead or something's going on. So they go to the ranger's office. There's a shot where Johnny, even though he's a childlike mentality, he's got some sense because he puts that branch in the car horn to get them out of the cabin to see who's playing with our car.
Yeah.
And there's a nice little shot where you follow him around the cabin, and there's a shot of a window that he walks past. Because what he's doing, he's walking around the cabin, and he's going to ambush the person who comes out to the car.
He sees his reflection.
No, it's not his reflection, but people thought it was. It's the other guy in the cabin he wasn't expecting. He walks past the cabin window, and it's one of the guys, one of his buddies. So he doesn't see him. He doesn't know he's there. So it's a little mistake there by Johnny. It's a creepy shot too because you didn't expect to see somebody in the window because it's almost a jump scare, even though the person you're jumping from, you go, ooh, he's not a villain. He's just he's about to be a victim.
Mm-hmm. The ranger death thing comes up around this time.
Yeah, these two guys are the ones who get it with, the hatchet in the leg.
That's right. Yeah.
And then I love how you see it off camera. He just chucks the hatchet.
Yeah.
And then you turn him, and his buddy's got the hatchet in his head, and then he just takes the rock and crushes his head.
Yeah.
Those two are annoying as fuck. So I'm glad they
they were. Well, they all are. I would say all of the teenagers here are bog standard annoying teens, you know?
Yeah, we got the ranger station here. And here you can hear them. He's talking to the two survivors, and he's telling them, "You took the necklace. You took you're fucked. He's up now. He wants that back. You're fucked." And then the ranger, obviously,
why didn't they just give him it back?
I don't.
At this point,
he said that nothing you can do. He's up. So I think the girl did it in the ending as the last resort.
Yes,
and we find out it works. But this ranger death, he ends up paralyzing him because he was going to use the same stuff on Johnny, but he obviously gets turned and he injects the ranger with it. So he's still alive, but he cuts his head off and his arm. It's like, fuck me.
It's it's really good. This is elongated and it is dragged out and it does go on too long.
A little too long.
But you know what? Again, it's another showcase for the special effects because you really are. It's like a magic trick. A lot of these effects where you're trying to see where they swap. Yeah, where they swap the dummy with the the real body, the real person. So yes, they're like magic tricks and it's very hard to catch. So it is, to be fair to them.
Yeah. When one of the guys turns, he goes, "Hey fucker," and he puts the axe in his face.
Yeah.
Great death. And he just starts whacking on the face for like 4 hours. And you have the survivor. She's just sitting there and she's watching him whack on his face. So that's where she decides, instead of setting the bear trap they're going to set the bear trap and set him on fire or whatever, she just puts she decides to take the chance and put the necklace by the canister so he'd see it. And then and she runs away. It ends up working on her behalf. This is Chris, I believe. Chris is the female survivor.
Yeah, the final girl.
The final girl. And then she's picked up later by the older woman, who is nice to see. That's Vicky from Friday the 13th
from
Part
Friday
2.
the 13th Part 2. Yeah.
Yeah, good on her. I'd like to see her. And
This is an important scene I want to talk about, the final scene.
this is the scene I wanted to talk about. Yes. The scene works in a couple ways, but there's one flaw, which the scene really would have sold me. Okay.
Yep.
The one flaw, I'll get this out of the way now. And it's a double-edged sword. I'm kind of glad he went this way. But like I mentioned in the beginning of the podcast, he doesn't focus on the campers. He's here to focus on Johnny. But by not focusing on at least her as one of the campers and really liking her, even something to give us some kind of, you relate to her, you had to do something. The scene kind of doesn't work.
You've beat me to it. I was going to say the exact same thing. Actually, you have no empathy or sympathy with her. You don't care because you just do not know enough about her. So you neither really care whether she lives or dies because we are not invested enough in her as a character. So yeah, totally agree. That's actually what I was going to say. And that's what, while I like this experimental sort of way of doing the finale, I greatly appreciate it. Again, I think this is one of the things here that, well, it's a strange one because I do appreciate what they're trying to do, but at the same time, I don't think they pull it off because of the reasons we've just given.
Well, they do still pull it off, I think. It would have been a lot more effective if they did give her a little more sympathetic, make her a little more sympathetic, like even have her a phone call,
character.
even have her make a phone call, he can hear it, and her mom's dying or something. Give her something to make want this character to get away.
Yeah, even when she's in the car, she doesn't. She says very little. Obviously, she's in shock and stuff. So we don't even get much from her in the car in this final scene. The talking's more by Vicky from Friday the 13th too.
Yeah, and I liked her in that too. I do. That's what works for me. I like the fact she tells her this bear story. And
I really like the tension of this scene because you don't know who she is. The older woman's, you don't know who. I thought it was going to maybe be she was like the sister or something of Johnny.
But I think that's what they were trying to play on.
Yeah,
I think he didn't know, and I did. That's what I'm saying. The scene still works. It would have been
in terms of
class
tension,
if they went a different direction, but it still works because she's telling the story of the bear, and I thought she was talking,
or Johnny,
but
a metaphor for Johnny.
But it's Johnny. They don't know it's the bear. They think it is a bear, but the girl,
there's a suggestion there that she knows fine rightly it's Johnny, but she doesn't want to mention it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
For me anyway, there's subtext there where she's saying, she's like saying, well, see this serial killer Johnny, let's just call him a bear. And then she tells the story. But I thought there was a lot of great tension in that car scene.
Yeah, because especially when she goes, I'm going to pull over. I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
I need to bandage your leg. It's bleeding a little too much.
But and
then there's this long shot of her looking into the woods. And what's great about this final shot is, not the final shot, but this shot is, I talked about it, how every time we cut away from Johnny, we're always looking to the trees to see if we can see his face. And I was doing that. I was like, where's Johnny?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Where's Johnny? But it's not.
I know the audience is doing that. You know what I mean? This is all intentional. And you know what? I'm going to go even further, and I'm going to suggest that possibly, obviously I don't know, I'm not inside the filmmaker's head, that possibly she is a relation of Johnny's or something, and she decided to spur that girl, or maybe she was going to, she was looking for Johnny, hoping Johnny would come out and get the girl, but then she realised that Johnny wasn't there whenever she looks into the trees. She knew a lot more than she let on, let's just say, about Johnny and stuff. And but then she seen that Johnny was now back at rest again, or he wasn't there, so she decided, nope, she's getting off. She's not going to be killed.
Well, yeah, but because it ends with the locket's gone from the gas tank that she put the locket on.
No, she knew that older woman knew a lot more than she was letting on, and she was playing with her a bit. The more I think about it,
I don't know. I don't know.
But that's the great thing. It's left to your own imagination.
Yeah, I just. Yeah,
but
listen, guys.
Like I say, what does hurt this is basically the fact that you were not invested enough in the girl. But I still really appreciated the tension of that car ride.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what this director can do next with the bigger budget. Not even a bigger budget. You don't need it. Give him some bigger backing and good marketing, and see what he can do. I hope he does another slasher film. Do not, please, if you're listening to this,
Don't go mainstream.
Do not. No, stop with the mainstream. Don't do a sequel. We don't want.
No,
we don't
that'd
need
be
it. You
stupid.
told the story. Do not make part in Violent Nature 2, The Risen, or
This time it's personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
don't. Don't. The studio will ask you. Don't do it. Put this one to bed. Move on. And
Yeah.
then give us another slasher. Create somebody else for your, from your own imagination. And I would love to see him do,
And give us more plot. There's no plot here, but
well, you don't need it. And there is plot. Don't say there's no plot. There is a plot. It's very,
it's good.
but most slasher films are like
Yes,
this.
I know.
So you can't, falter for that.
Give more characterization as well.
Yeah, if you're going to focus on Chris at the very end, you needed us to feel sorry for her, so we needed a little more. Now there is some dialogue between her and I think it's Colt.
Yes, in the cabin
In the cabin, so
at the start.
yeah, you get a little bit of that, but we
It's not enough,
needed
but-
we needed that one little extra piece to where she is
Well, more sympathetic and
vulnerable.
relatable,
Yeah.
and the audience are on her side.
not just some spoiled brat.
Yeah,
So, but guys,
it's interesting. Check it out.
this is going to be a smash. It's made. I mean, it cost little. Made about I think $8 million in the U.S. already. So it's going to find its niche, and definitely on video on demand, and people who buy movies will definitely pick it up. If you're a slasher fan, guys, you're going to love it. Period. You're going to love this film.
It's interesting.
It's a really good take on a subgenre that most of us already adore. So, and it's something different, guys. It's something different, whether you like it or not. At least they did something different.
Yeah, they went outside the box. It's avant-garde slasher.
That's right. There you go. That fancy word he just said.
Because as you know, I'm very fluent in French and many different languages.
Well,
I used to be very fluent and drunk.
Well,
or shit talk, but now
Yeah.
pass that mantle over to Ciaran. Now he does a shit talk.
Yeah, you're definitely fluent in bullshit. Is that the? All right, guys, we're gonna wrap this one up. We are going to return to bad cinema, and that's with Street Fighter. And then we're going to end with Alan Quartermain, and then we're going to hit the Twister films with the new one coming out, and Maxine to wrap up our little trilogy there. And that's all I've got for you. All right, guys, listen, give us a shout at @CitizenFrame_podcast on Instagram, and of course, always on Facebook. That's all I've got. Anything you need to add?
No, well, the new issue of Phantasmagoria is out. Go grab that. Issue number 24.
Oh, yeah.
But apart from that, yeah.
That's out.
Available throughout the world from
It's-
Amazon.
It's in Technicolor, guys.
Glorious Technicolor. Our first color interior. Ooh. Snazzy.
Yep. And great reviews of Frogman.
Yeah. Who
And
did them?
Abigail.
Can't remember.
Oh, some genius. He's got a lot of avant-garde.
Yeah. Avant-garde.
I don't
yeah.
even know how to pronounce the. I don't even know what it means.
He's an avant-garde film critic. He likes to critique in an avant-garde manner. It's Ciaran.
I'll tell you what. If I write another review for the magazine, this is going to be my go-to. I will be backing this film up 100 times over.
Review this for the next issue.
So
There you go. Regular issue.
yeah, I love independent cinema, and I love when independent cinema
yeah.
comes out with something like this. So kudos to Shudder, who purchased it right away before it even went to Cannes. It went to Cannes and everything, and Shudder bought
Speak
it.
French in Cannes. They would know what avant-garde means over there. So
Yeah.
they would.
Well, that's why you
Our
brought-
French listeners will also know if we have any.
Oh, speaking of listeners, welcome to our. We must have a new listener or two in Sweden.
Greetings, Sweden.
There you go, Sweden. Abba's from Sweden, aren't they?
So, sorry, who? Abba? Yes, Abba.
See, maybe
Yes.
it's Abba. Maybe
And
Abba
Dolph
likes
Lundgren?
us.
And Dolph Lundgren. Maybe it's Dolph.
Dolph Swedish?
Yes.
I thought he's Danish.
No, he's Swedish. As
Are you
far as I
sure?
know. No, I'm almost certain he's Swedish.
No, he's
So hello, Dolph.
no, he's
you know-
not.
No,
Dolph-
I'm near certain he is.
Hold on, Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah.
Oh, he is Swedish.
Thank you. Again.
Well, at least I'm admitting it. I'm not just trying to,
Well, you can't deny it.
He's from Spanga, Sweden.
Right. So, hello, Dolph.
Oh
If
my
you're
God,
listening-
maybe Dolph's downloading us.
oh, shit. I hope we
Oh,
can get
fuck.
our Masters of the
Listen,
Universe
man,
podcast.
Listen, I loved He-Man. He hated it. He was a jerk. He said you couldn't act. I was
Dolph,
like,
you were
no,
brilliant
what?
in it. Dolph, you were fantastic in it.
Should have got the Oscar.
Yeah, I love you, Dolph. Don't come over to Belfast and beat me up, please.
Fucker's like almost 70 and he looks fucking fantastic.
Yeah. Don't come over to Belfast and break us like you did with the Apollo Creed.
It must break you.
Yeah.
Go for it. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. And what's that?